I'd like to take a few moments and just really speak from the heart. Very candid. I don't have any script on this. I have a general idea of what I'm about to talk about, but that's really about the preparation I've done for this. Now, we're going to put Malachi on hold for today. We're in chapter 4. I think we have about 4 more episodes left, and we'll finish that up. We're going to pick that back up next week. But I want to take this moment because I just want to share, the type of person that I am when it comes to God and my relationship with God is, I believe more than most, I try to do whatever it is God tells me to do. I hear my Father's voice. I know my Father's voice. I pray to Him often. He speaks to me often through prayers, through dreams, through visions. I'm very clear on when I'm hearing from God. There's no confusion there, I guess is what I'm saying. And several months ago, I felt like He was telling me to just be silent for 40 days, like just to stop God, Family, and Guns, just shut it down 40 days and focus on Him. And I shared that with my wife many months ago, and her response was more of a, I don't know about that, are you sure? Because the way that oftentimes YouTube specifically works is their algorithms. If you kind of stop for a day or so, your momentum goes way down, and then it takes much longer to get that momentum back up than it did to take it down. And since then, it just keeps popping in my head as I pray. It keeps popping in my head, and I really didn't see any clear path for that. And I've been focused mostly on numbers. I'm just being honest. As I put out content, I'm kind of looking at how many views is it getting? How much is this building my momentum? And in other words, I've been totally disobedient about this towards God. And recently, our monetization got shut down, and last year that happened, and I was pretty distraught about it. I was scared. I was angry because of 5-6 years of work just shut down with a flip of a switch. This time, it didn't bother me at all. When my wife told me about it, I think she expected me to be all upset, but I thought, oh well. And that's really about it. And as I prayed about it, it's something, God's in it. I know YouTube shut it down, but God's in it. I know that to be so. And a lot of this, I believe, has to do with my disobedience. So for the next 40 days, starting Monday, God, Family, and Guns is only going to be focused on God for 40 days. We're not talking about guns. We're not talking about Second Amendment stuff. We're not talking about Supreme Court, ammo, nothing like that. We're just focused on God. Everything else is going to be darkened and silenced, exactly like God asked me to months ago. And oftentimes I see God work through me in my stubborn ways. Like I think sometimes He tells me to do something knowing that I'll put it off. And then whenever I finally get around to it is the perfect time. So I think He tells me to do things in advance, knowing that I'm probably going to put it off because that's my personality. He knows my heart and my personality more than anybody on the planet. So I believe it's the perfect timing. So what will we be doing over 40 days? Well, it's just going to be God only. I'm going to continue through the book of Revelation verse by verse. We're going to continue through the book of Malachi, verse by verse. We're going to start Daniel, probably Monday, verse by verse. And then I'd like to start another book. I've been praying a lot about this. I really want to focus on spiritual warfare. A lot of the messages I'm getting from you guys is a lot of people are under attack, especially the moment you said you were in on being part of the remnant. You've been under attack, and I really want to kind of just lay out how spiritual warfare is played in my life and just really show it through Scripture, because anytime I've been engaged in spiritual warfare, I always follow what it is Scripture says. I don't do what I think I should do. I don't do what I want to do. I do what Scripture says, and it's often really strange. The things God tells us to do in spiritual warfare looks very, very strange and makes no sense to the average person engaged in warfare. So, but God's ways are very strange. They don't need to make sense to me. Kind of like I said earlier, I'm the type of person where more than most, I'm going to do what God asked me to do. If I'm driving down the highway and He says pull over and start doing the hokey pokey, people are going to be driving down the highway seeing a guy standing on the sideway doing the hokey pokey. I mean, and it doesn't have to make sense to me. I don't need to know what it is God's trying to do. It could be that he's working on somebody who then sees that and changes some. I don't know. I don't know what God's ways are, and I don't know what his thoughts are. His ways and his thoughts are much higher than mine, and I don't need to understand. I trust him. He is my Father, and I believe in him with more than anything. I believe in him more than I believe in life itself. And this is the path that we're going to. He said to do it. I should have done it months ago, but here we go. So for the next 40 days, we're going to be going through Revelation verse by verse. We've been doing it once a week. We're going to pick that up to 2 days a week. Malachi, we're just going to finish on Sunday. Daniel, we're going to be doing 2 days a week. And then there's another book. I'm kind of leaning towards Joshua, possibly, so we can then focus on spiritual warfare in our lives and how that plays out and how God engages in warfare before us, with us, and after us. So that's where we're at. It's 40 days of God. You know, and again, I just want to let you know, this is not because YouTube shuts down. It's because God told me 2 months ago, and then YouTube shuts down. And now I'm thinking, well, oh, I should have been obedient to God. Because, you know, the funny thing about God is that he has this way of telling people, for example, to rest the land on the 7th year. And if they don't, he kicks them out of the land. And I just kind of think that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to be very obedient to this. I'm sure numbers are going to go down. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, well, I came here for the guns. But that's okay. God said to do it, and I could care less what happens to this channel at this point. If God said do it, we're going to shine the light of God through this channel for 40 days straight. So again, we're going to be going through the book of Daniel twice a week, Revelation twice a week, Malachi on Sundays until that's finished. Then we'll pick up another book to replace that Sunday book, and then we're going to be going through, I believe, probably Joshua is kind of where I'm leaning, but something that helps us focus on spiritual warfare in our lives and the prepares for the warring of the saints. So hope this video gives some clarity. Again, each video I'll put a little tiny 5-second intro into it to explain kind of, you know, here's where we're at. It's 40 days. You know, as best my calculations, that puts us somewhere in August, but that's okay. It's exactly what God asked me to do. I should have done it months ago. It didn't make any sense to me, and I was disobedient to it. And now I feel like God probably should take me out to the tool shed and then teach me a lesson, and then now let's get back on the path. So there we go. Hope this video helps. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. But again, most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests, so never hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.